Now, as mentioned earlier, 80 Indonesians have landed in the country after being evacuated from Ukraine. So what about the rest of them, and what was the evacuation process like? We will know the answers straight from the Indonesian Foreign Affairs Ministry spokesperson, Mr. Teuku Faizasyah. Good day, Mr. Teuku Faizasyah.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. All right, sir. The first batch of Indonesian citizens have arrived from Ukraine safely in Indonesia. Could you tell us about their health and their quarantine conditions?
Well, thank goodness they are returned back to Indonesia safely, and at the moment they are still health observation, as you say. I don't really have a clear news at the moment how's their health situations, but as it's always been the case after you came from the conflict zone, you need a little while to return to your good feet, and also having somewhat of counseling to have perhaps some traumatic experience. So it will take a few days, I believe, before they can be returned back to their family and home.
All right, so if you could tell us how many Indonesian citizens are still in Ukraine right now, and are all of them now at the Indonesian embassy there?
At the moment, there are still 50 Indonesian in Ukraine, including 9 personnel who work at the embassy in Ukraine, not necessarily in Kiev at the moment. They moved to a different city in Ukraine. And we still have 9 Indonesian in one city, which is still undergoing an armed conflict. So we're still awaiting the good timing to move them to a rather safe place in Ukraine. Okay. So overall, there are around 50 at the moment.
Mm-hmm. So what's the plan here? When will the government plan to evacuate the remaining Indonesian citizens who are still in Ukraine?
We continue to we have a plan. So certainly we do have a plan, but we will need to adjust the plan with the situation on ground. There are a lot of uncertainty when we try to implement the already contingency plan, as the conflict and the armed conflict also happen at the same time. So there is always a need to really ensure we can execute the plan while the situation is really conducive. So a lot of uncertainties, and we always put the safety of our national as the most priority. As for that reason, we always be very careful in executing the contingency plan.
Okay. Mr. Faizasyah, were there any obstacles, or are there currently any obstacles throughout the evacuation process?
Well, as I said, a lot of dynamics, many dynamics taking place when we talk about in armed conflict. Mm-hmm. Will need to keep their eye and ears open, try to gather as many information as possible, and to make sure that the route that they choose to move the Indonesian to a safety areas is 100% safe. Otherwise, they will need to readjust the plan and make sure the best timing. We open communication to all the relevant parties involved in the conflict, just to make sure that everybody gets the same message, that we have national there. We want to move them to a more safe area. And it is for that reason as well, during the recent discussion at the UN, we insist to incorporate the notion of safe passage, so to allow civilians trapped in the conflict zone can leave the country safely.
Mm-hmm. Sir, the war in Ukraine is getting more intense. After the 2 times of meeting between Russia and Ukraine, they have not been getting any resolution yet. So has Indonesia taken a stand on the situation in Ukraine?
Well, we've issued a position, we have issued a statement. Initially, the first one during the 24th, at the break of the conflict, the armed conflict, then we already issued principal position, how we perceive the situation, the outbreak of the armed conflict. We issue a statement based on our understanding, and also referring to the need for all parties to uphold the international law on the UN Charter. We re-emphasize our position during the debate in the UN, where the representative of Indonesia present what we call it explanation after the vote, we really address our position and thinking developed at the course of this conflict continue to raging.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Teuku Faizasyah, for your report. We'll look forward to keeping in touch again with you in the future for more updates. Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.